Hi, and welcome to the Candidates Forum. I'm Patricia Valencia, your host for today, alongside Robert Palacios, candidate for City Council District 4. Hi, Rob. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Thank you.
It's good to see you. Coming to the final stretch here. Now, since we are here for the fifth interview now, let's go ahead and get to some hard-hitting questions.
Let's do it.
So what motivated you to run for City Council?
So there's many things. Part of it is, of course, I look at what my family's done in the community, and my uncle Henry was a councilman and did a wonderful job. We now have the Henry Benavides Community Center. And the more I become active and involved in Las Cruces, that started in 2016 through Leadership Las Cruces, and seeing all the assets we have in our community, to being on a school board and getting involved with the Mariachi Conference, that there's a need for young leadership in our community and a voice for our youth and to grow our community. And so it's all those things put together that have brought me to where I am today, and really wanting to make a difference in our community, to help the next generation, to help grow as the community grows, to grow with it. And so just those few things, as well as, you know, being a leader in the community and wanting to stay in Las Cruces.
So this is our fifth interview together, and we've discussed economy, education, youth, public safety, communication. After all of those topics, why should someone vote for you?
So I've put in the time as a young adult, as a community member, being active and being able to sit at the table and to listen and communicate and figure out what the issues are, whether that's sitting down with a business owner, sitting down with a young adult and saying, hey, what do you think of Las Cruces? And usually the answer is like, I'm ready to go, But if the answer is I want to stay, being able to provide the resources that are in our community and to grow on that. And I'm not talking about bringing in outside people to build a workforce. We have the workforce in our community. And so we have to build on that and to support them. So yes, there are outside resources that we can depend on and bring into our community, but it's supporting the individuals that are already here, building a workforce, building the trades, building vocational schools. We have the resources in our community already. We just got to highlight them.
You're eager to get them to work, huh?
Yes.
So you have two other running mates. Now, what sets you apart from those other candidates in City Council District 4?
I can't say something directly, but I use just my education, my background, whether that's being in the military, whether that's being an active community member. I like to, the leadership skills that have brought me to where I am today, whether it's educating myself about the community, whether it's, attending New Mexico State, the culture, the heritage, being a native Las Crucean. I use all that to highlight, and then it's sitting down and listening. It's not always talking and coming up with a solution or making promises, but being able to sit down and really understand the issues and then think and understand what is the solution. And it's being proactive in that way. And definitely through the process, you're going to have to be reactive to certain things. But when we're proactive and we do more to build on what we have in Las Cruces, or to highlight the resources and the assets that we have, that's when we're able to move and do greater things beyond ourselves.
Now, after your whole campaign has gone through, what is it, as you understand it, to be city councilor? And has it changed since the beginning of the campaign? Your thoughts on that?
From day one, being a city councilman is listening to the constituents, listening to the issues, and there's not always going to be an easy fit-all solution, but it's communication and it's figuring out what we can do for our community, what is needed. And so, we have to uphold our city charter. When I swore into the military, I swore to uphold the U.S. Constitution. And I look at it the same way. There's laws, there's regulations, there's policies, and we have to look at those. So as a city councilman, You're looking at the city charter. You're creating policy. And of course, the one person that you do hire, fire, and manage is the city manager. And coming up, the city council has a big decision to make and a recruiting process to get a new city manager in Las Cruces that understands what Las Cruces is, how it operates, and how to better serve our community.
Well, that kind of leads to my next question is, through your schooling, your life experiences, through the military, which situations do you think that you've been in that can prepare you to be a city council member?
Yeah, it's very interesting through my educational process and through being in a career. Everything's evolved around a certain thing, and that has been communications, radio, sound engineering, music, and I've grown in that aspect. But then getting involved in the community, I've grown as a leader, made connections, better understood businesses and education, and it's all the things we've touched on, public safety. And so I take those as I go into this election and campaigning, and I say, how can I use those to benefit Las Cruces? And so it's all of those things combined that I'm able to better understand and better look. It's kind of like a looking glass. Sometimes you have to step out and look at it as a whole and say, how does this benefit? How can I better improve this? And really, it's sitting down and listening to the different ideas. Before the show, we were sitting around talking, and it was fun hearing different ideas that we have, whether it's for the Las Cruces channel or for the city as a whole. We have, one of the questions I got was, what resources do we need as far as parks and recreation and helping our youth? Well, really in District 4, there's a lot of those already in place. Can we improve or expand on them? Of course. But do we have to sit down and reinvent the wheel and redo things from scratch? No, I think the resources are there. We just need to highlight them and build upon what's already in Las Cruces.
And now that you're nearing the end of your campaign, could you share with us maybe your thoughts on how you would be able to support our local economy in your position as City Council?
Yeah, year 2020, the year of business for me. And it's the little ideas, and we can do it in a big way. And so developing the industrial park, building on our airport. So Virgin Galactic isn't too far down the road at Spaceport America. Well, that's a resource in its own. So building vocational schools, aeronautics, education. When we build a workforce, then we can build our economy and show that we have the resources. If I'm a business wanting to expand into a community, what resources are already in that area? And so our number one thing is the way Las Cruces is. When something happens, Las Cruces steps up. They donate. They come together to make things work. And that's the great part about our community. So we highlight that. If we have the workforce to build their company, that's icing on the cake, So building the economy, we have to support small local business. From starting day one and opening your doors to the next step. And we have great chambers, the Greater Las Cruces Chamber of Commerce, the Hispanic Chamber, the Green Chamber. And it's really cool seeing them all work together in our community to help support business. And I've had the opportunity to go to a lot of ribbon cuttings. And when I see these businesses, I'll use Mateo's as an example. They opened up on University Avenue. Now they're expanding and they're going to be downtown Las Cruces. And I celebrate every little thing that a business does to grow and expand. And I think it's important as a city councilor to be out there, present in your community and supporting small business and showing them that we care, It's family at that point.
Now, with your residents in District 4, during your campaign, what is one of the main things that you've heard them talk about? And could you share your thoughts on that with us today?
Initially going in, I had a very good idea and concept of the Valley Drive project and traffic, and that either hindering business or going at a slow pace. And it's being innovative, and it's really not innovative. It happens in a lot of areas. 24-hour work schedule. if they're working at night doing certain things. It's just seeing what, now that Las Cruces is growing, works for our community. So that's part of it. Also, the message of building the next generation and keeping our youth that we're growing locally, whether it's through the public schools, whether it's through the university, them coming out of their education and being able to thrive in their career. And so I really have connected with the community in saying, yes, we want to have opportunities for my son, my daughter, my niece, nephew, granddaughter to stay in our community and not have to leave and be able to grow a family here. So that's something else that's resonated. And then it goes on to having more family-friendly activities, more things to do. And so whether that's just the city of Las Cruces doing something, whether it's creating public-private partnerships, or it's finding the industry and the business where someone will come in and create platforms, whether it's a bowling alley, putt-putt golf, we haven't seen since I was a little kid. Whatever business it is that caters to our youth, that they have more to do, I think it's important.
Now, you've talked about communications being one of your core values. Could you tell us a little bit more about what that means for you now and how it will impact your performance as City Council?
It's been pretty steady throughout the campaign, is meeting with business owners, saying, hey, what hurdles have you had? And if it's none, that's great. How do we replicate that? And how do we see what went well in the process? But communicating is key. If it's one thing to hold the position in office and go to your weekly meetings, go to the work sessions, but it's what you do extra. And I've realized that in everything I do, whether it's running a nonprofit, whether it's in your job, it's doing that little bit extra to make it count. And so communicating and getting out in the community and being active is very important to everybody I've spoken to. And so I want to keep that going. Somebody told me while I was out canvassing, don't stop what you're doing right now. Always be active in the community. Show the members, the constituents that you care. And so that's what I really plan to do moving forward, is you have to stay active. You have to be in the forefront of people's minds, more so as the elected official than through the campaign. And that falls to the wayside. And I understand, I've been involved in work-intensive projects. And when you maybe moving into a new house and you have all these ideas of renovating and what you're going to do. And then by the time you move in and you get settled and you're unpacked and everything's kind of how you want it, those projects dwindle. Well, maybe we'll do that next year, or we'll re-landscape in a few months, or we're going to wait for it to be a better season. Maybe you moved in the fall and you said, we're going to wait till the spring to do yard work. It's the same idea. Moving into city council, we have the same aspirations to make a difference, to improve our city. And then you get into the seat and you've done so much work leading up that it's like, oh, I'm going to sit back and take a break. But then you start losing those aspirations and those promises and what you've communicated to your constituents the whole time. That platform goes away and you're in it now. And so my hopes are to continue this conversation and sitting at the table and communicating. So that's what it means to me moving forward.
Well, we're going to talk more with Robert Palacios here, running for City Council District 4 on the Candidates Forum when we come back.
Hi, I'm Ray Bamberg with Here on Earth. I would like to invite you for a free hearing evaluation to our office. We've been here in southern New Mexico for 34 years helping people hear better.
Las Cruces is our home and a beautiful community to grow. A place where you should be able to provide for your family and where your children should be safe and get the best education, all while graduating and thriving in their career. where you should be heard no matter the politics. Hi, I'm Robert Palacios, native Las Crucean, active community member, and a veteran of our military. And I'm asking for your first choice vote November 5th.
Horizon Granite is here. We'll come to you to customize your kitchen and bathroom with beautiful countertops and cabinets. Find out more at horizongranite.com. Call us at 575-650-3180.
Horizon Granite is here.
It's here.
Make yourself a beautiful home.
Welcome back to the Candidates Forum. I'm Patricia Valencia, your host for today, alongside Robert Palacios, running for City Council District 4. Now, we left off talking about City Council and the job that it proposes to you. Now, what has been the biggest lesson that you've learned running for City Council?
The biggest lesson is get involved and stay involved. Las Cruces has a lot to offer, and we're barely getting to the point where it's growing. And now's the time to stay and grow with it. Whether it's downtown Las Cruces, whether it's White Sands, New Mexico State, we fought for something that's really great, the Organ Mountain Desert Peak National Monument, and we got to continue to support these things. So the lesson is to keep calling to our youth and the next generation to give Las Cruces a chance, and to stay here and help me grow it with the rest of the community. We have a really great retirement community, and they have a lot to offer, but we have family, and we have the sense of community. As I'm door knocking, I've met several individuals that have just moved into the district, actually, and they're excited about being in Las Cruces and have heard great things. And so we have to, as natives, continue to buy into that, you know. Now I sound like a car salesman and I'm trying to sell Las Cruces to you, but it doesn't need any selling. Las Cruces is our community, and so the greatest lesson I've learned is I made the right choice by staying here and by investing in our youth and the cultural arts and continuing to build that no matter what it means. Is I want to be in Las Cruces, and that's initially why I opened my business here. You know, there's a lot of opportunity. Texas is doing really well in building mariachi programs, and Tucson has great cultural arts, and there's a lot of opportunity. But I said, no, I want to keep this in Las Cruces, and there's opportunity to support our youth and to build cultural art programs. And now I see the opportunity to get involved and to serve a higher purpose through City Council. And it's not self-fulfilling. It's about communicating with the public and seeing what the needs are and helping them have a voice.
Now, I know that you're a veteran. We haven't really talked too much about that, but if you could tell us a little bit more about why you served and what the service meant for you.
Yeah, just like running for City Council, it's about legacy. It's about serving a higher purpose. And so when I joined the military, it was a huge honor. Both of my grandfathers served in the military. One was in the Navy. He's 94 and he's still alive, and I get to go out and work on the ranch with him. And my other grandpa was in the Army and was in World War II, lived in Germany. And then my dad served in the New Mexico Army National Guard. And that's ultimately where I ended up, was the Army National Guard. And so it's still the sense of community. When you're active duty, you know, you have your duty station and you get shipped out. So I left, was on the East Coast for basic training in AIT, but then I get to come home and I serve in my unit here. And it's, you serve the state of New Mexico, you know, you have a chance to help with wildfires, natural disaster, counter drug enforcement. And so it was really great being able to come back and be in the military, but still be in my community, all while going to school. And that was at New Mexico State. So.
Now we do have it coming up, so the election, of course. If a lot of people are there, nobody's familiar with ranked choice voting. It's something that's brand new. Now, could you explain it once again for anybody that's wanting to go out and vote and doesn't understand it completely? That way they're not scared of the process. What kind of pointers or what kind of advice do you have for people with ranked choice voting?
So the mayoral ballot can be scary. It's basically a whole page. We have 10 mayoral candidates, 100 bubbles to look at. And so the best way it was explained to me was we make choices daily in our lives, and we have to decide on what we're going to eat, what movie we're going to go watch. So that's a great example, movies. So 3 new movies came out, which you have 3 candidates for District 4. What's your number one pick? What's the movie that you're for sure going to go see? A movie that's out, you like it, and maybe next week. And then this one, it's good, but maybe not the top of my list right now. So ranked choice voting is looking at your candidates, and we're talking about it's get out the vote, but I'm saying get out and vote. And that's educating yourself about the candidates and making your vote go the full strength that it can. So for District 4 City Council, you have 3 options, and I'm asking for your first choice vote based on my platform and what you've learned about me along the way. And so it's quite simple for city councilors. Now the mayoral race, that's a whole nother story because you got, like I said, 10 candidates. But ranked choice voting, just fill out your top choices. And
so
go
it may
from
be
there.
scary, but get out there and vote.
Yes.
That's basically what
Yeah.
we're saying here. Now, as we come to a close of our last interview together, now who would you like to thank? Is there anybody that you want to thank along for your campaign, for supporting you, for helping you out? What would you like to say about that?
Well, let's start with the Las Cruces channel for having us here and creating a platform for the candidates to come and help the community better understand what the issues are, where the candidates stand, having a voice. And thank you for hosting. It's been a great opportunity. We were talking earlier, we're going to show up, after this show and, and be ready for our next one. Wait, it's past election. And speaking of that, calling to the community and asking them to get out there. November 2nd is the last day for early voting. That's passed. So November 5th, it's the big day. And get out and vote and make your voice heard. It's important for these small elections, and the county has done, it was at a state level, they're consolidating these elections. So you're going to see school board, you're going to see some water and soil, you're going to see your local district candidate and your mayoral candidates. And so educating yourselves on the issues. Thank you to the county clerk's office for helping educate the voters on this new ranked choice voting system that is happening here in the city of Las Cruces. Everybody who's contributed time and funds to the campaign, a big thank you to them, and it's been a huge honor. I wouldn't take it back for anything. It helped me get more involved and immersed in our community.
Now, so somebody that maybe is in the future wanting to run for city council, what kind of advice would you give them, or how did you think this experience went for you?
You got to do it, man. If it's something on the back of your mind, the time will come to get involved and figure out the issues. But if you just sit back and go, oh, I think I'm going to do this, and never actually do it, you just got to jump in, It's like when you're trying to get into a pool and you're like, you just got to do the cannonball and dive in, and you'll really see how much of a blessing it is to be able to be active in your community and get involved, and you learn so much along the way.
Have you learned anything about yourself along the way during the campaign?
Energy drinks are a big help. Coffee. There's a lot of time spent into it, but if it's something you're passionate about, and it's just reinforced everything that I do and I get involved with, is that if you're passionate about something, you're going to put the time, the work in that it takes. And running for office, it does. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It takes a lot of time, a lot of energy, but when you surround yourself with people that want to help and that have the expertise or the knowledge, it makes it all worthwhile, because you're building community connections, you're building yourself as an individual, and ultimately hoping to help build the community.
Now we have a couple of minutes left, so I'm going to give you the floor just to talk to your constituents one last time and let us know why we should vote for Robert Palacios, District 4.
So it's important to educate yourselves and get out and vote. It's something that our servicemen and women do daily to defend our country. And it's a huge honor to be able to be a candidate for District 4 City Council. So get out there, let your voice be heard, vote. And I'm asking for your first choice vote, because I think it's important to build the next generation, to help our youth, to help grow our community in the best way possible. And I may not have all the answers, but I surround myself with people every day that help educate me and help grow our community as a whole. So I'm asking for your first choice vote. We're looking at communication, economic growth, and truly building the next generation for Las Cruces.
Well, it was fun, Robert. I just want to say thank you for having me to have these interviews with you. I had a lot of fun, and thank you to the Las Cruces channel as well. And hopefully we'll see you up there as your first ranked choice vote. So
yes.
Congratulations on your campaign, and thank you so much. And thank you for joining us on the Candidates Forum. I'm Patricia Valencia, your host, and we'll see you next time.
I'm Robert Palacios, and I approve this message. Carissa Avila, Treasurer.